County Justice? Suicide Squad? Who is this tart? What? Nothing here.
Hey, can I help you with anything?
Hey, yeah, I'm here looking
uh,
for some comics.
Clean up on aisle 1, please.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see those. Oh, you want me to give you a hand here, or?
No, it's okay. We have it.
I think they were just right here on this table.
Funny, I didn't put them there.
Oh,
that's okay.
interesting. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. You are
George.
George, I'm me. It's nice to meet you, George.
Yes, I've seen you around.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. I can't imagine where, but anyway, like this is a nice shop.
Thank you.
How long has this shop been here?
We've been open about 4 months. We got the sign up about 2 months ago, so that's when we really did the opening. But soft opening up in October.
Nice. Nice. And you're enjoying it? It's been a good time so far?
It has been a very good time, but very long hours, a lot of work, a lot of sorting to do. A lot more to do yet.
But it's probably all out of love. Like you've probably been a fan all your life of comics and collectibles and that kind of stuff. Or
I started reading comics when I was 6.
Okay.
Started trading when I was like 10, and then had my first store when I was in my early 20s. And it's just something I really like. I like working for myself. I really can't work for anybody else. And I like the coolness factor of comics. Yeah. They're just cool. Art is cool.
Nice. So what did you collect when you were young, comics-wise?
You know what? It's whatever. I remember collecting some Thor, some Conans, some Supermans.
Nice.
Not that many Spider-Mans. I don't know why I was into that, but just whatever my parents can afford that week.
Yeah. How about DC versus Marvel? Who won that for you?
Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah. DC just wimpy. No
Fair
offense.
enough.
Yeah,
no, it is.
Offense.
It is very wimpy. It's easy to get by as a villain in DC Comics.
Well, all you do is get caught and then you escape again. Sorry.
It's called rehab. Is what
that's right.
It's a vacation, right?
Yes.
A couple of weeks and then you get back out on the
Everything's
street.
forgiven. It's like penance.
Batman doesn't seem to mind, right? But he's trying to sell 25 different comic titles a month, so he's got to let us out. Right?
Well, yeah, that's just it. Without you, he wouldn't be a hero, right?
That's right.
If the villains were dead, what would you do?
He would just be hiding in the shadows, and he'd be a nobody, right?
Well, then he'd be a pervert.
That's right. Or just another pervert. Right?
Or just another pervert.
Wow. So this is good. Is this your personal collection here, or is it parts of your collection, or do you have a separate collection? Or?
No, this is a very small collection I still have at home that I have my personal collection.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is the store's collection, but I do consider it as my collection.
Okay.
So I do bring stuff in that I think is very cool or I think will sell. I can sell it, but sometimes some stuff I do have a hard time parting with.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff I keep back. But then I can't pay the bills.
I guess so.
So it's harder that way.
And what's the demographic in the store? You got the young kids, you got the older collectors, everyone's coming in?
Everybody's coming in. We've got some of the young kids, some of the older guys. Mostly, I'd say between 18 and 27. That's the demographic for the males. Some more females are coming in, but they're more into either the manga, the horror stuff. They get a little picky. Also, Harlequin, Batgirl, Supergirl, Power Girl, all the female characters.
Yes.
And that's good. So it's usually girlfriends or wives of husbands or boyfriends that collect.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty neat. I noticed you got a good selection of Magic cards.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like you got some hockey cards here as well.
A little bit of hockey now that the Jets are back.
Yeah.
Hockey kind of died when they left.
Yes.
But we'll see how the Jets do this year.
Yeah.
And things kind of fickle.
How are card sales going? Like I remember cards going through a massive boom in the early '90s, and now it's kind of.
It was
where's
crazy.
The market?
I was back there. That was back in '91, '92.
Yeah.
Everybody would open up a stand anywhere and sell hockey cards.
They were everywhere. Yes.
It was crazy. That's when they started bringing out the new packs with all the insert cards. It's nowhere near that. I don't think it'll get like that for a long, long time again. People learned their lesson.
I think so.
Yeah, everybody's using the Pro Set and Score stuff as fire kindling right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, rolling it all up, and who doesn't have 40 Mario Lemieux from those days, or Eric Lindros,
or Lindros? Hey, wasn't that a safe bet?
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, it was it was an exciting time to collect for sure.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. So another thing I've noticed is we have up on the ceiling here, and we've got some artwork. Like the rumor on the street is that you're hoping to get this whole ceiling done with the motif of of art, which I think is outstanding. And how do you come about getting the artists for this?
Well, initially what we did is just put up a little thing on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And we just invited people to come down. It's kind of a volunteer that they do it. We support them. We show their art in the store.
Yeah.
I do shows across Canada. I'll bring their art or some kind of pictorial, their art to help promote, sell it.
Yeah.
And then now Mike, one of my good friends and employees, he went across and he found some artists at the local comic show, and he offered them some ceiling tiles.
Oh, nice. So they're taking them and they're...
Yeah. So we've got 8 tiles out now. We've got another 7 people that are interested. I'm hoping to get about 30 tiles up on the ceiling.
Okay, so you're still looking for more artists?
Oh, definitely. If somebody wants to come down, for sure.
Okay, great. So if we've got any artists out there that are watching and you want to draw my lovely mug on a tile for George and his awesome staff for a store, and we'll throw them up on the ceiling and see what happens. I'm sure it'll drive people into the store.
Well, I'm hoping so. I think it'll add some color.
Yeah, I think it will.
Ceilings are so boring. They're all white.
Color will be good. I actually really enjoy the art you've got in the store. Maybe not that Batman. Looks a little bloaty to me, but everything else is really good in here. It's a good selection of stuff. Lots of comics. Easy to find. Everything. I think it's good.
Well, thank you.
Do you have a favorite collectible in here?
Why, you want to take it?
No, I just want to know.
say.
What's your favorite thing? Like?
My favorite thing is I still like the old comics. So I'll just show you one of the comics that I like. Submariner number 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like these comics. They're back in the 40s when the comics weren't to help the war effort. They were doing a lot of propaganda stuff. So they always showed the Japanese as buck-toothed, yellow-skinned guys.
Yes.
The Germans were always ugly, deformed. The Italians were always mob-looking. So I like it for the propaganda value of it.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff.
It looks good, and I always wonder, as far as cosplays and the cons go, everyone always is the Predator or Stormtroopers or Star Wars related, and you're complaining that you're all hot and you're bothered, and oh man, who's got a place for me to cool down because I'm in my big cool costume? Well, why don't you try the Submariner costume once in a while? It's a couple of wings, some pointy ears, and a pair of Speedos, and you got it done.
You got it made.
You'll never complain about being too hot again.
No.
So there's a logistical issues of some of the cosplayers I know, but that's the way it goes. Yeah. Anyway, this is really nice. George, it's been really nice talking to you. I should probably get running.
Yeah, running.
Yeah. Well, I got a car coming to pick me up here. So it's been good. I hope to be back soon.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the store.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate you coming down.
George from Hidden City Comics. You can find him online on Facebook, and you're watching The Last Laugh.
Hi, I'm George from Hidden City Comics, and you're watching The Last Laugh.
How much for this guy?
47,000.
47. How much for this one?
28,000.
28,000.
28,000.
Can I try it?
No.
How much for this? Still too much. How about these ones? Anything under 10,000 here? These guns? What are these guns?
2,500. God, if I know.
Can I try it?
No.
What about this one at the end?
Blue gun.
A glue gun. How much for that?
11.97.
Can I try this?
No.
How about the pencil?
25 cents.
25 cents. But can I try it?
Will it make you go away?
It might. It'll make something go away.
Fine.
Hi everybody, it's me again, and we're here with AP Fuchs, author, artist, publisher, owner of Coscom Entertainment. Now AP, thanks a lot for coming and doing the interview. We really appreciate it. So, you wear a lot of hats. What came first? And tell us your beginnings of Coscom Entertainment.
All right. The original plan was going to be a comic book artist.
Okay.
And that dream sort of started up in high school there. And that's when I actually came up with the idea of Coscom, Entertainment. In terms of, it was supposed to be like an independent publishing house to put out my comics and maybe one or two other friends' comics.
Okay.
And then, excuse me, after high school, I took a year off, and then ended up going out to animation school with the mentality that if you could draw something in motion, you could draw it standing still. And we did, and then, but about 4 months into the course, they stopped teaching us the course.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, vocational gigs where it cost an arm and a leg. So a lot of people were very, very upset.
Work at your own speed.
Pretty much. Oh, some days you come in and sleep, and no one said boo, It's bizarre. But anyway, yeah, so I got really upset with the whole art industry, which I guess at that time was unfair to cast such a thick blanket over it. But
Yeah.
But what it led to, though, led to me sort of, writing scripts for artists in class to draw from, and eventually into my own short stories. And then from there, I started writing a series of short stories that was meant to be, serialized in some fashion. I didn't know how. But after having, I think it was like 5 or 6 of them, I realized, and I got like the beginning of an actual book. And I thought, well, I should maybe try to write a book. And I did. And it took about 11 months all told. And that was my first book, and it was a lot of fun to do. I wrote everything from right on the computer, onto notebooks, into foolscap, everywhere.
Yeah.
And eventually, compiled it all together. But at the end of the day, I had to make a choice if I was going to keep it just for myself, or if I was going to share it with other people. And I ended up getting sort of suckered into one of those vanity publishing deals where you pay an enormous sum after selling your kidney, and then having to have a bunch of books that no one's going to buy. So it was really really bad experience. But out of that, though, I got to be part of the book production process.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I had so much fun with it. So I thought, okay, well, the next book I did was a poetry book, and that was another Subsidy thing, but it was with another place, and it was way better, and it wasn't expensive at all.
Okay.
But anyway, long story short is when I went to do my actual next book, my next novel, which was called A Red Dark Night, which is like a tribute to a B-horror type of thing, I ended up putting it out through the CosCom label, through my own company, through my own printer, through my own distribution networks, and that sort of thing. And that was the plan. I was going to write and publish my own stuff, and that was it.
Okay.
But then the summer of, I believe it was the summer of 2004, a fellow author had asked me to publish a benefit anthology for Charles Grant, who was a big deal in the horror field. Unfortunately, he's passed away, but at the time, he suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder.
Okay.
And in the States, medical bills are ridiculous, right? So we had to come up with a way to offset that.
Yeah.
So that was what this anthology was. And we got everybody from, I think Joan Lansdale had a story in there, Paul Wilson. These are big names. And then, of course, we had smaller guys like me have stories in there as well. And eventually one thing led to another, and I started putting out other people's work on top of my own.
Nice.
Yeah. And then,
Still, it's a nice idea to help somebody out like that. And I don't know. It's a chance to work on your craft as well, right?
yeah, it actually happened, not necessarily with Mike Press all the time, but with other presses too. There's always some sort of charity anthology going around for somebody with a real cause, not just,
Okay.
I need groceries, can you help me?
Because it's a thing to do, yeah.
And we're very close-knit, especially in the horror community. It's an extremely small niche
Yeah.
in the overall fiction market, And, things kind of just grew from there. When I started off, I published speculative fiction, so it was like everything from horror to sci-fi to fantasy. But it ended up being too broad of an arena for me. So once those contracts expired, I ended up refocusing the company just onto superhero and monster fiction, which are my two favorite genres. And ever since 2008, when I refocused this whole thing, it's boomed big time.
Nice.
We've done a few mass market deals, like with Simon & Schuster and Source Books. We've done foreign rights to Germany and Russia and such, and others in the pipeline right now.
Wow.
We got representation in LA now for film stuff. I can't say too much right now, but there is some huge things happening on that front. And it's been growing, and it's allowed me an opportunity to do this stuff full time. Help launch some authors' careers, also improve my own. And so basically it was like artist, writer, publisher, and now I'm doing all three, because not only do I do my own books and publish others, but I'm launching the Axiom Man monthly comic on the 14th of March.
Okay.
And so I'll be doing the art chores on that too.
Sweet. So you've given us lots to talk about. We're going to take a quick break and come back, and I got a ton of questions for you. So we'll be right back on The Last Lap.
My name is AP Fuchs, and you're watching The Last Laugh.
Welcome back to The Last Laugh. We're with AP Fuchs. And AP, in the last section, you kind of went through, the art and writing and starting into the publishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's maybe take a quick step back and say, let's find out what your influences were growing up. Like, Your favorite books, your favorite heroes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, as far back as I can remember, probably 3 years oldish, it was the old Superpowers cartoon with Superman and Batman and all those. Justice League at the time, that was the Justice League. And the old Spider-Man, with the psychedelic backgrounds and stuff. But I mean, I watched those religiously. I mean, anytime they were on, that's all I watched.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, we grew up with the action figures and that. So, but anyway, the whole superhero mythology though was a huge influence growing up.
Yeah.
In terms of books or whatever, I mean, it was always my parents couldn't afford to buy me comics, and the storybooks that we did have were just your standard, Mickey Mouse, Learn How to Read, Sleeping Beauty, and all those things. So when I finally got into like comic books and stuff, like I'm a big DC guy, so that really started kicking into high gear in high school.
Yeah.
With Nightwing and Justice League and Superman and stuff. And then when I got into the writing side of it, the big influences were, like I said, Stephen King, Alan Moore, and Terry Goodkind.
Okay.
And Terry Goodkind does that Sword of Truth series, a big
Yeah.
fantasy epic. And I learned a bit from all of them. To me, Stephen King was all about the work ethic,
Okay.
and like what he did and where he came from and where he got to. Not monetarily, as good for him as that is, but just the accomplishment. You know what I mean? And then Alan Moore was all about taking ideas and trying to do something new, and realizing that there's really no limits to ideas. And as odd as that sounds, when you first start writing and start doing the stories, you think there's an exact science to it.
Yeah.
And then you either do it this way or no way, and you realize that's not the case at all. As time goes on. And then with Terry Goodkind, if you ever read his books, he is just big time into description and really making you visualize what you're seeing, and in such a way too that it's not repetitive and annoying. And so that's sort of little things I try to emulate in my own work too, without going overboard, right? So that the reader feels like you're right there in that character's shoes. And like, the classic adage is like show don't tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a good. It's good influences to have. It's a really good eclectic mix. I'm going to stop the interview for just a second, and for everybody watching, AP mentioned Stephen King, and I've only read. A lot of people have read a lot of his stuff. I've only read one book ever from him, and it was a short story called The Body. And in our first contest ever on The Last Laugh, if you could tell me, any of you humanoids out there watching, if you could tell me what movie was made out of The Body, and message me on Facebook or email or whatever, the third correct answer will get Arkham City, issues 1 to 5. I got a nice little set here, and you guys can read them, and they're kind of a companion to the game that's out right now. So, yeah,
the in-between story.
That's right. So,
In-between call.
there we go. A little bit of Stephen King for everybody. I'm expecting my inbox to be flooded with wrong answers, but we'll see what happens. So, you've done drawing, you've done your writing, and you mentioned you were given a couple of curveballs from publishers and decided to do your own thing. You're happy with the publishing aspect of it all, and
like I'm just with the different business arrangements I've made now. In terms of publishing, I might back up just a quick second. Like I've always put out my own material in regards to books and stuff, but I've sold my short stories to other places, and that's so. And I've also now have experience, selling novels to other places. And personally, as nice as that is, I really like the hands-on aspect that I get. Part of it's a control thing, but part of it is a creativity thing, because making a book goes beyond the writing of the story. There's a lot of parts to the production process as well.
Yeah.
And to me, that's still a creative act. You're still working on that book, still making it something.
Yeah.
Until it's finally finished, and then a reader can enjoy it.
A lot of times people don't realize that they think it's just the writing or it is the drawing, but the package that comes with it and the muscle power to get it out there so people can realize it is out there, right? Like we've got the internet now, which has helped things, right?
Yeah, quite a lot, yeah.
Basically, your audience is now anywhere from here to Australia to Uganda to Denmark.
That's right.
Anyone can get your book. Just a couple clicks, right? Is that helping you out?
The internet's reach, has grown even since I started online. Really going at it probably, what has it been now, like 10 years ago
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Even beyond that. And I mean, compared then to now, I mean, it's grown by leaps and bounds. But he's kicked open the door to international sales, international readers, international comments, international good reviews, international bad reviews, everything, which is great. Whereas before, those channels were locked up,
Yeah.
Ebooks and stuff aside for a minute, like that's obviously a whole new thing and that's a separate issue. But like before then, when it was just about even the paperbacks,
Yeah.
you still had pretty much, I mean, unless you hit it major big, you pretty much had localized channels.
Yeah.
But the internet's just, it's changed everything, and it's improved me as a writer, even as a reader, because I get to discover stuff that I would never have heard of otherwise, and these really unique books in the small press that don't get mainstream publication because of the content or whatever, which in my opinion is far superior.
Yeah.
But it's been a wonderful experience.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back with more questions and more talk with AP Fuchs.
My name is AP Fuchs, and you're watching The Last Laugh.
Welcome back to The Last Laugh. We're here speaking with AP Fuchs. And AP, before the break, you mentioned ebooks. And let's get into that. Like, definitely has changed right now, the use of a printer. Some people still love that hardcover, hard copy book. But, I mean, I'm seeing them on airplanes and all over the place. Everyone's got their little e-readers now. And these things are, they're here to stay, it looks like.
No, absolutely. I mean, New York's in shambles right now as a result of this. They're panicking as to like, how are we going to do this? Because they've always been late to the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my opinion, there's two types of readers. There's readers and there's collector readers. I fall into the latter category where I like to read, but I also like to have the book on my shelf and just have this shelf of just stuff, And whereas there's others, they don't care about that. They just want to read, and they'll read anything, anywhere. So that a tablet format's perfect for them because then they could store, a pile of books in this tiny little thing and pull it up whenever or wherever they are. And it's changed everything. When I started out, it was like primarily like print sales were more up here, and like I've been doing ebooks for about 8 years now, but they were down here.
Yeah.
But lately, you see this shift starting to happen.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole economy issue, because a paperback versus an ebook is a huge difference in price, or at least should be. I could go on a diatribe about that, but I won't. But so and a lot of people are pulling up all these $3, $4, $5 ebooks kind of thing.
And it's a touch of a button, right? Then you've got your book
Yeah.
and you're ready to go. You don't have to. I mean, you could go on Amazon, buy the hard copy, and wait a couple days or a couple weeks for it to ship. So.
Yeah, it kind of depends. And some people buy both formats. 'Cause
Yeah.
they like this particular author and they want to support them, and they'll get both formats. The ebook sort of for the instant gratification, and then the paperback so that they get it like a week or a week and a half later or something like that.
Makes sense.
No, but it's definitely going to stay. I mean, you and I growing up, that was all about paper things.
Yeah.
Computers at that point were huge
Yeah.
beasts. But now it's the digital generation, and everything is on a screen.
Yeah,
People are
that's
like
for sure.
zombies for that stuff, just walking around with the cell phones all the time. And even now kids in class, it's in like university and stuff, it's iPads. And for that context, actually, I love the idea of ebooks.
Yeah.
Be able to go to university instead of carrying this massive backpack
Actually,
of
yeah.
stuff.
I think I agree with that. Like, I think that's one of the best places for them. Where you could, I mean, just automatically, you see the size of some of those books and you take 10, 12 classes, or you never know, right? Or how many books you're going to need. But
Even in comics, like there's becoming this big shift, happening. Like DC's done that whole what's it called, day and date thing.
Yeah.
I think it's called with the digital copies. But if you looked at sales figures of floppies versus what they used to be, I mean they're continually on decline, right? Whereas graphic novels have experienced a really big boom in recent years. And in my opinion, I think all floppies at some point will become digital at first.
yeah.
and that'll be your monthly comic. And then if you want to get the graphic novel, you could either get an electronic version of that, or you could get one for your shelf.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think the periodicals are going to be gone, probably sooner rather than later, unfortunately.
Yeah, I could see that happening too.
Mm-hmm.
We could, we could take this into a lot of different places, and I think probably the best thing I could do is maybe bring you back a little farther down the line and say, like, what do you think about comics? Does Batman really need 25 titles, and Superman need 25 titles? Especially Superman, if he's just fighting Lex Luthor, right? Like, one Superman comic, would that do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could talk about electronics. Really, how are they pricing these ebooks compared to a paper product book, where it's really, you're making the same file, you're saving it as a certain kind of file, it's done. You don't have to do all this other stuff down the line, but I don't know necessarily how in line the prices are with what you're getting out of that, right?
Well, it varies, right? Like, with the bigger houses, they charge the same, sometimes even more for the ebook, which is ridiculous. Whereas, I sell mine at, I found that, $5 a book is a great price point.
Yeah.
It's been beneficial, and a lot of people seem to be into that.
Yeah.
So if it's too cheap, to me, that's a little bit, it doesn't say much about the product. If it's too expensive, then people won't get it.
Yeah.
So you got to find that sort of happy medium. And to me, $5 a book seems to be the magic number regarding ebooks.
I think at your last show, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, somebody had bought 2 of your books and they got one free. And they were super excited because it was kind of like, how could you say no to 1/3 extra entertainment? And that's great, like that somebody sees it like that, instead of just like, it's just more clutter, it's more pages I got to read and that kind of stuff. So
well, especially in Winnipeg, right? Everybody loves the deal here.
that's right. That's
For
right.
sure.
So new aspiring artists. There's tons of them out there. You ever take submissions at all for Coscom Entertainment, or?
I do. Right now I'm closed just because my backlog is ridiculous. But yeah, when the door kicks open at coscomentertainment.com, you'll see a submissions tab, and you can take a look, and it'll tell you exactly what to send and how to send it.
Okay.
And I'm a stickler when it comes to guidelines. And the reason I'm a stickler is not because I feel like I deserve it. It's more so just, if you could do this properly, when you even just sending it in, then to me that shows you that you're actually serious about this.
Yeah.
And you're not just, like, I've gotten so many queries of just like lowercase emails saying like, hey, I got this book. It's about, aliens and Mars or whatever. Do you want to publish it? I'm like, what? You don't go to a job interview and talk to people like that.
Yeah.
Why would you do it for this?
That's right.
I mean, this is a job. This is real, And yeah, so if you could do a really good query and follow the guidelines precisely, then, that's a point in your favor straight off the hop. And because I know that down the line, if you get accepted, then I know that you're serious about this stuff, and we could turn the book into a success.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So we got about 60 seconds left here. Why don't you just tell everybody where we can find you on the net, on the World Wide Web?
Everywhere.
Yeah?
Well, kind of. I got a bunch of sites. Personally, you can go to my website, which is canisterx.com, and I blog there pretty frequently. Everything from fandom stuff to, writing, publishing, comic stuff.
Yeah.
And then my company, Coscom Entertainment, that is at COSCOM entertainment.com. My wife and I also run another imprint called Torn Veil Books, and it's tornveilbooks.com. And then, I'm on Twitter, APFuchs _. That's not right. AP_Fuchs. There you go. Don't even know my address. And then Facebook, Facebook.com/APFuchs. And,
Okay.
I'm not a Facebook hound, but I'm usually there once
So
a day.
lots of avenues.
Yeah, exactly.
So, folks, if you have any questions, send them his way. Go check out his stuff. It's been a real pleasure. I hope to have you back on the show, actually, AP. AP Fuchs, Coscom Entertainment. You're watching The Last Laugh.
My name is AP Fuchs, and you're watching The Last Laugh.
He comes down. Oh. Oh. Come on. It's never gonna work. It's the worst. The worst garbage can ever. Oh.
getting on here. Get home! Am I